3:10 p.m. Hello?
Kathy, hi. Jim Kahn.
Hi.
Pittsburgh.
Hi.
Hi. Say, first of all, I've tried to reach you many times on Tuesday, and I think your voicemail was full at that time.
Yeah.
And I left you a callback number, and then I tried your home phone, and it says after the beep, leave a message. So wait for the beep, and then it comes back after the beep, leave a message. So maybe you'd want to check that for me.
That's on the home phone too?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew my cell phone messages are full, but I didn't.
Did you get that callback number one that I left then? It was.
Yeah, we've been really busy because we had to go up to tribal court yesterday up in White Earth.
Okay.
So.
Well, just so you know, I've been trying like crazy
Yep.
to get both.
Yeah, I seen all the calls. I know you've been trying.
Okay. What I'm finding out now, as a matter of fact, I was just over at dispatch when they said to get a hold of you, that the county attorney is declining to prosecute because the current evidence would not prove beyond the doubt that they need to prosecute either on Hyde or on Doebbert. So.
On who?
On either of the two vehicles that you thought were possible vehicles.
Well,
one was the Hyde.
Yeah, but
Doebbert.
we knew that wasn't that.
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
it was just Doebbert that was in question.
Yep. So what we did, Kathy, is we forwarded all those reports to the county attorney, and he's declining to prosecute. Okay. So if you would want to go forward with prosecution, then you would have to initiate that yourself. So that would mean kind of like what we talked about before, where you'd have to be able to identify this person and go over the whole thing. And you're the prosecuting authority in that case. Okay, does that make sense? And in order to do that, I think you have access to our records. And what we tried to do, and then you would have to, wonder exactly how that would work. Maybe you would need to talk to the county attorney, Nelson or Todd Roth, and see how you could initiate it if you wanted to go forward. Okay. So.
Well, I thought when I called on Friday, the next step would be like what you said, is that you would go talk to them.
Yeah, looking at the paperwork here, actually that was John Olson that talked to Belvin. And he would remember that we had that conversation that he was acting as Belvin in the report. It says Belvin Doebbert stated he is acting as Connor Doebert's attorney and advised Connor Doebbert not to speak or give any statement to law enforcement.
Oh, see, I wasn't told that. You were giving me a scenario that's what could happen.
Oh,
The last
sorry,
time.
I might have misled you, or we didn't have a clear conversation, but that was what John Olson had talked to Belvin about, so he had already made the contact.
No, when we found out it was Belvin's son that was driving, it was Neil was in there, and everybody just found out who it was that minute, that second. So John Olson couldn't have talked to him prior to that.
No, he talked to him after the fact, after we knew that fact. Because he made that contact on, it says Monday, December 10th. And I think we talked Thursday or Friday before that. Does that seem right? The 10th is when Belvin was talked to about Connor's driving by John Olson.
What was the date again?
On December 10th, Monday, December 10th.
Oh, and
Okay,
Belvin.
so that was after we talked because I was off for the weekend. See, we catch these cycles of, how we're able to follow up things. But
Oh, so Belvin was contacted,
yeah,
and he just said that he's representing Connor, and he's advising him not to say anything.
not to speak or give any statements to law enforcement. So, because we are not the person that was present when this happened, that's as far as we can go. He's saying, I'm his counsel, and I'm saying, don't talk to me.
Yeah, and that when I called on Friday, that's all I thought that was going to be happening, because I said once you start that process to call me, and I thought we were just at the process of that you'd go talk to him.
Right. That's why I tried to contact you after that to tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Because on Tuesday, I think the 11th, I think it's all written down or documented, but that's when I was trying to call you and tell you that he had made contact with Belvin, and that Belvin was acting as Connor's attorney, and he told John Olson that I'm advising Connor not to talk to you.
So Belvin Doebbert was contacted before they just went and talked to Connor Doebbert.
Correct. Well, he was, because he's a juvenile, 94, he's 18 years old. Yeah. Actually, he made contact with Joellen Doebbert first and talked to her about a complaint on Connor.
But if Connor's an adult, why didn't they just ask Connor right away?
Well, it might be that the fact is that we don't always have contacts for these people. But the fact is that either way, you would assume that the father, being an attorney, would represent his own child. You know,
but I know, but if you would have just walked up to Connor fresh, just like the kid that I reported with the Pizza Ranch deal, I mean, you didn't try to contact his parents first. You just asked him, I suppose, right?
Yeah, no, that time we just went to the Pizza Ranch because he would be an agent of the Pizza Ranch, you know, and we wouldn't necessarily know who was driving the Pizza Ranch car or which car they had or whatever.
But after you found out who it was, you know, you didn't try to contact his parents, or I mean, because I'm sure he was close to that 18 age frame too.
Yeah, I would think he would be. Mm-hmm. No, I think that one we just handled because it was, you know, a concern of the Pizza Ranches as well as yours, you know, in reference to a driving conduct. And I think we kind of thought, if I'm thinking right here, Kathy, that would be what was needed in that case. You know, contact made. Hey, you're out representing Pizza Ranch when you're driving these vehicles, and we have a complaint that you're driving too fast, and then so they took care of it internally. So it's kind of the same way. Well, we've got Belvin Doebert's car, and we suspect somebody young driving it, and then they can basically say, well, you know, we're not talking to you.
I know, but it wasn't even tried to. I mean, the biggest thing is nobody tried to talk to Connor. If you just went up to Connor and said, geez, you remember this day that your car was out of control and you almost hit a green car? You recollect anything like that on that date? You know, I mean, he could have just said what happened. You know.
Yeah. Well, if we were in presence, if we were there when that happened, that would have been exactly the scenario that would have happened. You know, but when you say, well, this is Belvin Doebert's car, who was driving it? And then they say, well, we're not talking to you about that. Where do you go?
So it was really that professional courtesy stuff that they were given because of Belvin, correct?
No, it's just a way of you know, if the biggest difference, Kathy, is you got to think of it this way, is that if we were there and we witnessed it, we would be able to take the whole case and just go with it and say, we saw this driver do that to this driver at this time, blah, 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 lay it all out because we were present. Now, if they say, you know, we're not going to talk to you about that, and we weren't present, all we can do is come back to the person that lodged the complaint and say, if you'd like to proceed with this, then you know, just you'd have to identify him, you'd have to explain what happened.
But we're getting way off course here, because the whole issue is that it wasn't even tried to get what the real answer, because you're all assuming this is going to happen because this is that and this is that. So because he was the county attorney, that you weren't going to go just talk to his son and say, you know, there was a problem out on the highway on this date with this person in this color car. Do you recollect anything of that? you know, instead of just doing that, it was all assumed what the answer was going to. I mean, of course, if you go do that, Connor could have said, "I'm not talking to you. I need to talk to my dad," or whatever. But at least it would have been tried to talk to him, and he might have said, "Yeah, I do remember." Right away, he could have said, "Yeah, I do remember."
And then, and basically, though, if you kind of follow through here, is that we have that vehicle, and we need to find out who is driving that vehicle, okay? Because you had a good description of the vehicle, and we said, okay, we need to find out who is driving that vehicle, and so then one of the registered owners, apparently it was the first one, was Joellen, said that she would be in contact with John Olson regarding the situation. Okay, then approximately, I mean, he didn't say anything about, you know, we need to talk to Connor or anything, granted there, but it said that approximately hour and 20 minutes later, Belvin called and said that they do own a reddish-colored car similar to the suspect vehicle described by yourself, and he stated that he is acting as Connor Doebbert's attorney and advised Connor not to speak to any or give any statements to law enforcement. So there it is.
Okay, but that is a that is a scenario. It's not. It's a scenario that we'll never know because you never. This is the problem I'm having. I called the sheriff's office. Jackie took the message. She never called you guys. That's the first problem. The second problem is that if Jackie, knowing that Gilbert is a police officer, actually he's a deputy out at the school, and he could be on it in seconds, and they have surveillance out there. So the minute I called, if she would have called Gilbert, or the message from the police called Gilbert, whichever way they decided, then they could have said, "Would you please watch the surveillance and watch the little red car and watch the person coming out of the car?" You guys could have gotten an ID right away. But I feel that Jackie, number one, didn't make the call to you guys. She was obstructing what was going on. And then again obstructing it because she didn't call the school or get some message to Gilbert that he could have been on it watching him come up into the school. He would have verified the time. It would have verified the time that I almost got hit. He would have saw him getting out of the car, saw he was, you know, the exact time. It all would have played out to prove the evidence of what I was saying happened. But nobody was willing to even transport the call to you guys. And then from you guys, it could have easily been solved by getting a hold of Gilbert, who was right out at the scene. And that's what I told Jackie. I believe they're heading out to the school. If they get somebody on it right now, they'll see him going into the school as my words are verifying what's going on. And all that was just dropped. So the way, if you guys have a way to find out the truth, and then I feel that you are not, you know, are almost blatantly stopping the truth from being told, then it feels like it's a cover-up. And they probably knew it was Doebbert from, even when I thought it was the teacher, they probably knew it was Doebbert from day one. They probably knew that it was Doebbert, Connor Doebbert, right away that same day. And I was sent on a goose chase trying to figure it out because I wasn't given any help to find out who that person was. And so, yeah, I kind of did my own checking it out, and the only one that I saw there at the time was that first car. And when they found out that it wasn't that, and then the second evidence of him doing the same thing the next week, you know, there's quite a bit of evidence there, and there could have been more had Gilbert been contacted, which he may have even been contacted, and he may have been even aware, but nothing was done about it because of who it was. Because they have the surveillance camera on the school parking lot all times.
Yeah, see, that's out of our jurisdiction, and they very well may have, but I really couldn't tell you that for sure this afternoon, you know, whether or not they could have picked it up or whether that's even on the loop, which is retrievable. I don't know.
Well, and that's the whole point, is I called the sheriff's office first Because I believe, I know the difference of in-town calls and out-of-town calls, like, out in the country. And so out where the school is, I know that the sheriff's office is the jurisdiction. So I called Jackie, and she could have immediately at least, forwarded the dispatch to you guys because it happened in town. But I told them that they were heading out of town, and so that involves the sheriff. So it actually involved both departments, and Gilbert could have immediately, been aware of the surveillance at least, or even been, and not even needing the surveillance, he could have just sat there and parked and watched him drive in, and watched him get out of the car, and
I agree. If all those things would have fallen into place, it would be a different scenario. I agree with that. Do you feel what I've done for you is honest effort to try to solve the problem?
I don't know what you have done as far as the honesty part, and I believe what you have done, but what about what Jackie's done? What about Gilbert's part in the, that he's out at the school? There's a lot of questions why.
I guess that's the direction I'm going. Is do you think that maybe those questions should be directed to whoever's in charge of dispatch? Would that be?
Well, I did speak to Tim Riley, and I told him there's a problem with Jackie not relaying that call to the police department.
We are basically, as a police department as well as Starbuck is, and the smaller departments, we rely on dispatch from the Polk County Sheriff's Office. So in that respect, I think you went in the right direction if you thought there was a problem with the relay of messages. And all I can tell you, Kathy, is that I've worked as hard as I possibly could on this case, and I believe from what John has done here, trying to contact the registered owner to see if we could talk to the person that was possibly involved in this incident.
Yeah, but you knew.
And then getting a response from his attorney that says I'm acting as his Connor's attorney and advising him not to speak or give any statements.
Yeah, but you keep going back to that. But the whole point is that you knew right off the bat from my description that it was a student. That just because it's a registered. Hold on.
This department did not know that because we didn't get dispatched. Okay.
No, you did know. Can I finish what I was going to say?
Sure.
You knew the description that I felt that it was a student, a young person, and I felt they were heading out to the school. That does not equal Belvin Doebbert just because he's listed as the owner of the car. So obviously you're going to check out Connor Doebbert first because that would be the most likely person driving the car to school. Why would Belvin Doebbert be driving to school? So you knew right away that it was probably Connor Doebbert, not Belvin Doebbert, even if the car is listed in Belvin Doebert's name. Because my son, lots of people have their children driving a car that it's not registered in their name. So it's really obvious that it went to the point, instead of just asking Connor, which that's what I said from the beginning, that if he was asked, it was never given a chance for him to say, no, I'm not talking, or even answer. It wasn't even given the opportunity for him to say yes or no or anything detail about it.
Well, what is the point of satisfaction here then? Is it to cite him and charge him with this?
If I had done this, I can guarantee if I had done this and Belvin had this much information on me, I would be charged.
Okay, so I'm actually just throwing the balls in your court is what I'm saying. From here on, because he won't talk to us as law enforcement, then it becomes incumbent upon you to proceed with,
Well, and that's what what I'll get back to is the two things that concern me is, first off, that dispatch call was not relayed to the proper place.
Okay, so that we might as well drop that because I'm not dispatch. We respond to what dispatch gives us as far as the police department. So,
But and the second,
are we clear that would need to go through Polk County because we don't dispatch ourselves? You've addressed that to Tim Riley already.
I've started it with Tim Riley, but the other thing is this whole investigation. Gilbert, obviously, if you guys are doing the investigation, if you had been called, like you should have been called or whatever, then Gilbert would have been notified, and Gilbert would have been part of getting him right at the time. And that's what you say is a key feature of the county attorney not prosecuting, is because the key identifications were left out, but they were purposely left out.
Well, see, that's interjection on your part. It would have to be, the totality of the circumstances is that initially our officer said that he did not receive a dispatch, so that he couldn't get to the location. Not saying that, he would have even been able to do that at the time. But if he's saying that he didn't get the dispatch, then after that, then you would have to look at what we did and say, you didn't do enough because, you didn't talk to Connor.
Well, what I'm saying is even
the effort was made to talk to Connor, but Belvin, acting as Connor's attorney, said, I'm advising him not to talk to you.
But bottom line, even without Gilbert, you still had the surveillance of the school parking lot.
And that's under whose direction?
The school, which you have access to go say, I would like to look at your surveillance between 8 o'clock.
It's actually under the sheriff's office.
They cooperate with each other.
But you guys cooperate with one another on cases that involve both departments. So you could have asked permission, or I don't know how you get it, but you can get a surveillance. Obviously, somebody talked to the first person that hid and talked to her, and that was, out there, out in the country. That would have been the sheriff's office. But yet, a police officer talked to her, so
I talked to her.
yeah, so you can't tell me that you guys don't interchange. You interchange all the time.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying we don't control, we can't even give you their dispatch logs. That has to go through their dispatch. Okay?
Yeah, but you can go to the school and request the surveillance of the school parking lot that would back up what I said, that there was a maroon car. I believe they're heading out to school right now. They're going to be out there in about 5 minutes. Somebody's got to watch. And I told Jackie that. And you guys can check that by the surveillance and say, well, Kathy said it at this time. Now there's a maroon car driving up. Who's getting out? And that would have said who it was right off the bat.
Okay, so I don't know what I can do for you to satisfy you at this time. If you think there's a cover-up or anything like that, all I can tell you, Kathy, is that anything and everything we've done is open and it's available to you. We did try to contact Connor as we contacted Julie Hyde, and when we get, if I read you the Miranda rights and you said, I'm not going to talk to you now, we don't talk to you anymore. You're represented by either your silence or an attorney.
But you didn't do that. You didn't do that. You were anticipating it to happen, so then you took other action. Instead of going to talk to Connor and letting it play out the way
His attorney won't let us talk to him.
But you didn't ask Connor first.
We asked his attorney if we could talk to him.
How would you know he's
talk to the attorney. He went to my client.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Connor's client.
This is all about, you knew Belvin was the county attorney and you assumed he's going to protect, what about anybody else? What about just the Joe Schmo? You don't know who their parents are. They just about caused an accident. You're going to go to the school and ask them what happened. Right?
Kathy, I just can't comment on all speculations and what if and this.
No, but see, that's what
happened, and that's all we can do is present you.
Jim, but that's what you are doing. Jim, that's what you are doing. You are speculating, and then you acted on your speculation. You didn't follow. You didn't. That Connor Doebbert is Belvin Doebbert's son, and so he was protected without talking to him first.
I clearly remember with you and Neil both present, and I said, it doesn't matter. We'll you need to get a positive ID. We need the positive
And I
ID.
said, I know that's who it is. And I said, I'll think about it for a couple days. And I thought about it for a couple days. And on Friday I called and I said, I want you to follow up like what we said and go talk to him.
And so then what happened? Then John Olson called and said, hey, we've got your car. We think it did this. Joe Allen says, well, let me get back to you. And Belvin calls back and acting as Connor's attorney. I will not let him talk to you.
So why was the phone call? Why was a phone call made to Joe Allen when you know that Connor's out at the school?
One of the registered owners of the vehicle.
Yeah, but you knew that it wasn't.
We still haven't identified him.
I didn't tell you that it was an older lady or an older man. I said it was a young person driving and a young person in the passenger. I knew that. It wasn't Belvin who's...
Why are we arguing about this? If you want to proceed with this, there's nothing that's changed. It's just a different process.
It's a different process because law enforcement is not wanting to help.
Just because he didn't admit to it doesn't mean that you can't go forward and charge him. That's what I'm saying. It's just that he says with what we have, we cannot proceed. We cannot go forward. So I'm here calling you in cooperation with you to say, if you want to go forward and, do all of this, I'm not suggesting you don't. I'm just saying that Connor's attorney won't let us talk to him. So you would still have to identify him. Ask Neil would know about all the procedures. It
Okay.
doesn't mean that it means that you need to just go forward with it because we weren't present to begin with. And his attorney won't talk to us. Does that make sense?
Honestly, it doesn't.
You wanted us to talk to Julie, and we did that.
I know, but you didn't talk to Connor Doebbert.
We had another vehicle, and we got, and we said, okay, that makes sense. And we talked about it here in the office.
Jim?
I said, you know what, we're still not present. We'll try to identify him, and if it is Connor, we didn't hold anything back. Now his attorney says, I'm not going to talk to you guys. We can't go and snap him to a chair and start...
Do you know what, Jim?
Whipping them or something,
Jim, Julie Hyde was not the registered owner of that car either, was she? It was Alice Hyde. Did you call Alice Hyde? No, because you knew it was Julie driving it, so you went to talk to Julie.
Do you know how we found that out? I mean, there's no big secrets here. Well, Julie's using her mom's car. Oh, okay, then we talked to Julie.
Oh, but Connor's using Belvin's car. Oh.
Right, and we're trying to talk to Connor, but his lawyer says he won't let him talk to us.
You didn't talk to Connor first.
No, because, you know why? Because his lawyer wouldn't let us talk to him.
Because you called him first.
Well, because we're trying to make contact with him. Where do you suppose he lives? With his mom and dad? Assumption. I don't think he's living by himself somewhere,
You can go talk to his school.
If somebody's lawyer tells us that, nope, I'm not letting my client talk to you.
I know that part. See, this is...
We have to go with our evidence, so we don't
Jim,
have any.
what you are saying, listen, what you're saying is look over here to the left so you don't see what I'm doing over here to the right. That's what that is. It's saying you're focusing on one thing so much that the other part isn't getting talked about. The other part is that you could have went to the school first and talked to Connor first.
You keep kind of missing the point.
No, I'm not missing the point because it already happened. Alice Hyde was a registered owner of a car.
Kathy, let's not argue anymore. Where are we going to go from here? What would satisfy you?
The truth.
We can't do anymore. You can bring the truth out.
We will.
Without your help.
With our reports, whatever we have, we can furnish you with the numbers, the owners, and all this kind of thing. But you're the one that would have to identify the person anyway. I mean, we would need to do it with your help anyway. Unless we could have went to Connor and say, Connor, do you remember that last Tuesday when you went through that little frontage road and you went sideways, this and that, and the other thing. He goes, you know, if he were to admit it, do you think his dad would let him do it? No. And we're talking to his legal representation.
Well, I'm not gonna continue talking. I'm all done.
Well, ask Neil about that. If we would try to continue talking to him, what we would get wouldn't that be good?
The
anyway?
whole
That
point
would be,
is you didn't try to talk to him.
The point is we did try, but we couldn't get past his attorney, who happens to be his father.
The whole point is I'm not stupid, Jim. You didn't have to. We talked about it in the. Just stop talking for just a second.
But I'm just saying that that's the way the legal process on our end.
No, it isn't, because we talked about it in your office. We would like to give him a professional courtesy and not talk to his son first.
No. What did
Yes,
you say?
yes, yes.
We're kind of friends with them, you know.
No, we didn't say we're friends. I was, you know what? There's no fight anymore. I understand what your standpoint is. It will never change, so I'm done.
Well, Kathy, here's where it's at. We presented everything that we could because we come to, you know, where his attorney says, I'm not going to let him talk to you. What do we do?
It's a broken record, and I'm done.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Good day then.
Ending call at 3:41 p.m.